Hey, today is day 8 of a series I'm doing where I'm inviting you to read Acts with me in the month of February. And if this is the first video you're seeing, what this series looks like is because Acts is 28 chapters, and February is 28 days. Each day in February, I'm reading one chapter of Acts, and each day I'm posting a video sharing what I liked and what stood out to me about the chapter for that day. And if you're reading Acts with me, I would love for you to share what you like too in the comments. And in this way, it'll be like our own little Bible study in the month of February to help learn and grow in the Bible together and to build and keep a daily Bible habit. So if you want to join me in reading Acts, I would love that. Today is day 8, so this is what I liked about chapter 8 today. What stood out to me today was the story of Philip and the Ethiopian. It says at the beginning of this chapter that on the day that Stephen died, a great persecution broke out against the church in Jerusalem, and all except the apostles were scattered throughout Judea and Samaria. Philip, who we read about in today's story, was, like Stephen, one of the 7 men who was chosen to wait on tables, and who faithfully served before God. He was also full of the Spirit, and God was constantly working through him. And Philip ended up in Samaria. Now, I don't have time to read the entire story of Philip and the Ethiopian, but I can summarize it. One day an angel of the Lord said to Philip, "You should go down this road." And on this road was an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of the queen's treasury. And he was on his way back from Jerusalem, where he had gone to worship, and he was in a chariot. Now the Spirit told Philip to go to that chariot and stay near it, and so Philip ran up to the chariot. As he got to the chariot, he could hear that the man was reading Isaiah, and Philip asked him if he understood what he was reading. "How can I," the man said, "unless someone explains it to me?" And when the Ethiopian eunuch showed Philip what he was reading where Isaiah was talking about Jesus. And it said that Philip started with this very passage of scripture, and told him the good news about Jesus. And right after he gets done with this, they're passing by some water, and the Ethiopian eunuch says, "What can stand in the way of my being baptized?" And so they get out, and Philip baptizes him. And then it says that the Spirit just suddenly took Philip away, and the eunuch did not see him again, but went on his way rejoicing. And what I like about this story is God didn't tell Philip, "Hey, I need you to go down this road because there's this Ethiopian eunuch, someone really important. And he's traveling on his way back from Jerusalem, and he's reading Isaiah, but he doesn't understand it, and so you're going to explain it to him. And what he's going to be reading about is he's going to be reading about Jesus, right? The very person that you're traveling around telling everyone about, the good news. And so you're going to get to go and tell him about the good news of Jesus. And then after this, you guys are going to come across some water, you're going to baptize him, and then I'm just going to take you away and make you disappear. Sound cool? Cool. No, that's not what God said. God told him in verse 26, go south to the road, the desert road, that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. He didn't know why he should go down this road. He didn't know what was going to happen, but he also didn't ask any questions. He was obedient and he went down that road. And once he obeyed that step, he was given the next step, to go up to the chariot. And Philip did not hesitate. He ran up to the chariot. And after that, he was given the next step. He heard the man reading Isaiah, and the man did not understand it. And so the next step was to explain Isaiah to him. Then he realized that he was reading about Jesus. And so the next step was to tell him the good news about Jesus. Then they came across some water. And so the next step was to baptize him. But each time, he had to take the step that was right in front of him before the next step was revealed. And by this step-by-step obedience, he was able to accomplish what God had planned for him to do. And for me, this was just encouraging me and reminding me to not discount the importance of the next step purpose. Because sometimes God doesn't give us all the details, and he doesn't give us the full plan all at once. But what he does give us is a step. And after we take that step, the next step is revealed, and then the next step, until ultimately we accomplish what God had planned for us to accomplish. And it all makes sense. And for me, I need this reminder a lot because I like to know the full plan. I want to know multiple steps. But so many times, God just wants to reveal one step, and he wants us to be obedient to take that step. And then after we are, he'll reveal the next step. And so I encourage you today to think about, what is the step that God's calling you to do right now? Maybe you're longing for more purpose. Maybe you're longing to know more about God's plan for you. And I believe that God can reveal those things. But I also believe that there's power in taking the next step. And I also know that more is revealed whenever we do. And so I encourage you, think about what the next step you could take is today. Think about what God is calling you to do right now. And then let's, just like Philip did, be obedient and not hesitate to do what God's called us to do. And by just being obedient and following the steps that God's given us to do right now, we can be confident that we'll accomplish his plans for us and that he'll take us where we need to go. And so this is what I liked and what stood out to me about chapter 8 today. I'd love to know what you liked about chapter 8. Let me know in the comments. And if you want to join me in reading Acts and you haven't yet, it's not too late at all for you to join. I would love for you to join. We still have plenty of days left. Thanks so much for joining me for day 8 today. Come back tomorrow for day 9, where we'll look at chapter 9 of Acts.